Guys, welcome back to the Pump and Culture podcast. So as you see today, I'm solo dolo, doing it all by myself today, but that don't mean that content is not gonna come your way, come furious and come on a fire level today. So today I wanted to talk to you about, well, we're gonna have a conversation because I had this little setup on my couch right here. Just almost like a little bit of a TED Talk, you know? So let's have this conversation. Let's break down a couple of information for you so we can kind of teach you and we can all learn together. So today we're going to talk about meal prepping, why is it important, and what the cost can come with it. Because it's hard to eat, it's hard to meal prep, it's hard to eat right because people always complain about how much it costs to cook and do all this stuff, or doing meal prep services because meal prep services are expensive. But I'm going to break down your two options that you have when it comes to these meal prepping and all this good stuff, because meal prepping is really important to me. I've been meal prepping consistently probably for the last 5 years. I have my girlfriend. She's been consistently probably on it for the last 2 or 3 years. We tend to cheat less, honestly, because the cheating, it happens, guys. We all do cheat meals. We all grab candy, or we go out, we drink. We don't really think about calories, sugars, all that stuff. But now when you're meal prepping, even if you're meal prepping for a competition or a vacation, because most of the time I'm just meal prepping for a vacation. Me and my girl will go to the Caribbean, go to Florida, go wherever, see family. So I'm always prepping my body to be beach ready in a sense. So you always gotta be beach ready, be on point. But let's get right into this topic, because honestly, I'm excited to talk about this because I've done in the past, videos on my YouTube channel about meal prepping and some of the items that I brought when I used to go to Walmart, Trader Joe's, or anywhere I shop. But I'm gonna break down for you where I shop, and let's get into it. So I'm gonna break down a couple of benefits that I've seen. 7 simple benefits that I've seen, and the first one is the time savings. So if you prep yourself in the proper way, you're gonna save a lot of time thinking and trying to figure out what you're gonna be eating. So what I mean by that is, we've all waken up trying to figure out what's for breakfast, what's in the refrigerator, what's in the freezer. Am I doing waffles? Am I doing oatmeal? Why not just cut all that thinking out and before the week even starts, prep yourself to know, hey, breakfast is oats and protein powder, whatever you're gonna do. Or for you who are not vegan, we got the egg whites and toast. Make sure you're prepping yourself so you know you're gonna go into the week, those particular portion levels and all the measurements are all prepared for you, so you get straight to the point on that Monday starting that week if you're at work, school, whatever you're doing. So the next one is the big one, and it's gonna be those dollar bills in your pockets. So the money part of it is really big. So I did videos about my $35 or $30 meal prep videos going to Walmart, and those I love. On a daily basis, I probably spend slightly more than $35, probably closer to $50. But come on, guys, $50 for a whole week for one person, that's crazy. If you go out to lunch 5 days a week, that's already $50. So meal prepping saves you a lot of dollar bills, y'all. And you gotta keep with that and just keep stacking it up for the next thing, because food in this life, trying to eat healthy is gonna be more expensive. That's why we're not eating McDonald's, because McDonald's may cost us $5, but we get a head of lettuce and all this other stuff. It's gonna cost us more, but think about what you put into your body. And that's one of the most important things. Think about what you put into your body. All right, so we're gonna jump into number 3 right now, and we're gonna talk a little bit about portion sizes. So portion size is a big thing that meal prepping actually helps. It allows us to mimic our carbs, our fats, and our proteins to the exact point if we can. So when it comes down to the carbs, the rices, the potatoes, whatever you need, it helps you know what you're consuming so you can have a little more control over your body and the way it feels. Because, for example, I feel really good on high carbs and feel really bad on low carbs, so I can easily manage that. So number 4 is gonna be, it might lower your stress in a sense. You won't be stressing about weekly food and what am I eating, or what am I doing when it comes to food. It'll be less thinking, less stressing when it comes to that point. 5 is gonna be a great one. So this might not be specifically to you, but it could be someone who's a beginner, who is trying to get into the kitchen. So meal prepping can help you a lot with, building that that kitchen comfort. So what I mean by that kitchen comfort is being comfortable cooking your meals, getting in the kitchen, getting a little bit dirty, trying new recipes, trying to make your food taste the best while also being on a super healthy level. Things like that are not the easiest thing, but the more and more you do when it comes to meal prepping, you'll get used to those type of things. So the last final one, which actually number 6, my bad. So number 6 is going to be a cool one, but you'll make a better relationship when it comes to food. So what I mean by that, you tend to look for better options when it comes to food. So if we're all going out, you tend to, hey, let me go more towards the healthier side of the menu instead of just going and getting the burger, the steak, whatever that may be. It's just a healthier relationship when it comes to food. All right, so we're gonna jump into number 7. And number 7 is kind of specific to you. And it's gonna be inspire others. So if you're that type of person to wanna help other people, inspire people, not even actually throwing what you do in their face, it's just like, say me, if I go to the lunchroom with my friends at work, whatever, they see me eating a healthy meal that's always prepped, and they're like, oh man, like, Casey's always doing it right. Like, you know, get in the kitchen, like go to the supermarket, buy food, like get right because he's getting right. And I just wanna be healthier, feel healthier, and he's just motivating me. So I'm always trying to motivate the next person to just be better. You know what I mean? So if I can inspire you to meal prep, that's the real goal of these videos. It's to inspire you to do something that might be out of your comfort zone, but that can get you out that bubble you are and just meal prep and be healthier and get to these goals. Because without really getting down into the nitty gritty, all these steps really correlate to you being a healthier being, healthier person, even if it's not even with the physical part of it, like going to the gym or being active, but just living a healthier lifestyle. Because I know a lot of people who just eat right because they want to live healthy. They don't want to lift, they don't want to work out, but they want to live a long and prosperous life with the foods they eat. And it's really important to, you know, follow the foods you eat. And that's one of the big reasons why I became a vegan, because I really started to follow my food a little more detailed, try to figure out where my food was coming from. It's different because we really don't know where our food is coming from. So me being a vegan, I just had to open my eyes and just kind of figure out, hey, where my food is coming from. No offense to anyone who's not vegan. It's just my personal decision. I have no one against who is not vegan, but just my personal opinion. So next, I want to go into a little bit about some of the cost of meal prepping. And the cost can be a little scary to some people, you know what I mean? So let's break it down. So like I said before, there's 2 types of meal prepping. There are the meal preps you can do at home, and there's the meal prep services we can do. So I'll break down a little bit of the services. I've tried them in the past, but I prefer to cook my food. So let's go. A meal prep service can probably cost you an average of $8 to $12 a meal. So anywhere in between, I've seen as far as 14 sometimes, depending on the portion size, as low as 7 when you're buying in bulk. But let's average of that 8 to 12 range, which is not bad. But if you do, let's say you did 3 meals a day for 7 days, that's approximately $210 a week. Not that bad, but that's one person. So if you're cooking for 2, now you gotta multiply that by 2. Now you're looking at about $420 a week for 2 people. Gets a little bit pricey. So if you're cooking at home, this is what I'm gonna break it down for you, because this is what I do. So when you're cooking for home, your average can be as low as $60 to $100 in 1 week, which is incredible. So some of the stores that I currently shop at, it always varies because, you know, certain stores sell different things, and I like to hop around and, you know, certain stuff. But I shop at Walmart, I shop at Trader Joe's, I shop sometimes at my local ShopRite, and then I get a lot of stuff off of Amazon.com. So for example, if you did if you spent $75 in 1 week and you ate 3 times a week, you're gonna average about $3.75 a meal. Obviously that varies depending on where you shop, where you eat your food at, or just what you're eating in general. And guys, let's drop it down from $3.75 to about an average of 8 to 12. That's a big jump. That's a lot of money being saved. You're talking about $75 a week per person compared to 210 if you did a service. But if you have that, do your service, because I know a lot of people enjoy that, doing the services, because they don't have to worry about cooking. If you do that, that is great. But I like to cook my food, so that's just a little bit different. And then you're talking about, let's talk about if you just eat twice a day and you had a lunch and you went out for lunch every day. A lunch meal, I work in Brooklyn, guys. A lunch meal can be an average of probably like $12 to $15, especially in Brooklyn. It's expensive. It adds up. You're talking about what, maybe $45 to $60 a week. Man, it's a lot of money, but if you got it, guys, you got it. But that's not always the healthiest option, because restaurants love to use fillers. They love to use the butters, the oils. You don't know exactly what's in that stuff. And then the next part of it is a good one, because if you meal prep, it really doesn't mean you have to eat boring or anything like that, because meal prepping doesn't mean eat boring food. So what I mean by that, people always assume that you're eating, rice, chicken unseasoned, or I'm eating tofu and broccoli unseasoned, or just a bunch of vegetables, because they always say vegans eat grass. Like, I'm just eating a bunch of unseasoned grass. That is far from the case. I always talk about this. I enjoy my food. I season the heck out of my food. I make sure my food tastes beautiful, and I take pride in that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? So I love cooking my food. I season the heck out of it. I use, garlic, onions, parsley, basil, so a lot of other stuff that I don't want to pronounce, and I'm gonna make a mistake on it. But yeah, it's just like, bro, you don't have to eat boring to meal prep. But I always tell people, if you show me your meals and I say it's simplified, that means you're eating too much complicated ingredients, possibly oils, just extra stuff you don't need when it comes to prepping the proper way if it comes to the fitness lifestyle. All right, and let's talk about how long the meal prep and taking it when you're cooking at home. So for a meal prep service, you'll probably get it every week on a Sunday or Monday. Easy peasy, don't have to worry about it. But when it comes to home, home cooking, I cook every Sunday, every single Sunday. It's hard, but it takes hours, but every Sunday I'll meal prep. And for example, that meal prepping will take me close to 3 to 4 hours of my time. Not bad at all, guys. I go to the gym, I'll cook, do some stuff around the house, and 3 or 4 hours, packed up, done, in the freezer or in the fridge, completely done. And like I said before, the benefits of doing that is, concentrating on a lot of the portion controls, not snacking, because your meals are going to be mapped out ahead of time, less stress, and preparing and thinking about food and what's coming the following day. And that's a big thing about it. All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about macros now, because a lot of people don't involve macros in their day-to-day lifestyle, and it's important. Macros literally help me get to my goals every single year, because it allows me to mimic my food. So, for example, I use this app, MyFitnessPal. It tracks my calories, my proteins, my activity all day. You can use any app. That's the app I prefer. It allows me to track everything. So, for example, I'm gonna break it down for you, my daily macros. It is 3 categories. It includes your daily protein, carbs, and fats. So obviously we know everything involves food. It's gonna be the sugars, the saturated fats, all the other types of things in your body. That's important too, but let's talk about the top 3 right now. The proteins, carbs, and fats. So fats. So I always tell people to figure out, when it comes to your protein intake, figure out how much you weigh, and either eat 1 pound to gram of protein a day, depending on how much you weigh. Sometimes you can go slightly over that. A lot of people love the 1.25 times the body weight when it comes to protein. They see better results. You just need to make sure you're drinking a lot of water when it comes to that point. Fats are super important when you're in the gaining phase. When you're trying to gain, I always say this, the winter time is the time to put on the mass, gain muscle. You want your fats to be on a higher level, so you want to be able to track your fat levels. So I'll give you an example. During the winter time, my fats are probably on average of 100 grams a day, probably between 80 to 100 grams on a given day, which is Not too high, not too low. Carbs close to 500 grams a day. And the proteins usually never change depending on my body weight. So right now, last time I weighed myself, I was probably sitting around 204. My protein level is probably about 210, which is great. It's literally 1 pound per body weight. That's perfect for me. But meal prepping allows you to track that. So let's go. So let's break down one day for me. And I'll break it down when it comes to what I'm consuming and how that affects your macros and everything like that. So let's break down a breakfast. So breakfast for me, a typical breakfast is gonna be a protein shake. So what I'll do is, and I'm gonna break down the macros for you. So what I'll do is I'll put a half a banana, which equals out 13 grams of carbs, about 3 grams of sugar. Then we'll put oatmeal in. I'll put a half a cup of oats, which is approximately about, I wanna say another 13 grams of carbs, about 6 grams of fat, healthy fats too, and about 3 grams of fiber, because you need fiber in your diet, guys. You need to clean out the system often with fiber. Then I got the protein powder, which I add about 35 grams of protein in there. I got some strawberries in there, which is about a half a cup, which is only about like 3 or 4 grams of sugar, a little bit of carb, about 10 grams of carbs. So you're looking at the power shake. So my shake is about 800 calories when I'm eating the shake every morning. And that's not bad, honestly. So you're looking at 800 calories, 50 grams of protein on average, a little bit of peanut butter in there. So we're looking at about 15 grams of fat, about 10 grams of sugar. It's not bad, you know what I mean? But as you know, I know what I'm consuming. A little bit of cinnamon in there too. Don't forget the cinnamon and a little bit of spinach. That's a little more carbs in there. So then we're gonna go to the next meal, which is gonna be my homemade seitan, jasmine rice, and some broccoli. So I do 1 cup of broccoli, which is great. Still low on carbs, about 3 grams of carbs on a cup of broccoli I do. So my seitan is about 30 grams of protein, 10 grams of carbs in there. And then we have the jasmine rice, which is about a cup of jasmine rice, which is usually about 36 grams of carbs in there, a little bit of fiber, about 6 grams of protein in there, depending on what kind of rice you eat, which is perfect. I duplicate that meal, have it again for lunch. So I'll do the snack, then that lunch, then I get dinner, depending on if I'm eating 5 meals a day. But say I'm eating 4, that's what it typically is. So we're gonna bring up dinner now, and dinner is gonna be another set where it's calculated out. It is a lentil pasta, then the lentil pasta is about 36 grams of protein in there. Then I add some nutritional yeast. So I add 2 servings of nutritional yeast, which also adds an additional 18 grams of protein in there. So now I'm looking at 50 grams of protein for the dinner, which includes pasta sauce, which is a half a cup of pasta sauce, some pinto beans. The pinto beans add another 6 grams of protein. So the thing is, I'm breaking this down for you because I know what I'm eating, so I can break this down. I don't know if the average person can break down every single meal and what's in it and what they're getting from these meals. And that's why it's important going back to the meal prepping, because portion control, you are taking everything you're eating, you are knowing what's going into your body, how much is it, how much sodium is coming into your body, how much fat, how much carbs, how much sugars. Those are super important to track. And if you're not meal prepping, you're really not knowing what's going on. But if you are doing the meal prep companies, once again, those are all broken down on the labels. So you do know what's going into your food when it comes to meal prep labels. But when you're eating lunch out, you don't know what's in that. You don't know you don't know how much protein or how much carbs you're eating. It's either, some tofu or some chicken or some rice, or whatever it is, pasta, whatever it is. You don't know what's in it. So you don't really know how much carbs and stuff you're consuming. So it's great to meal prep because we get right to the point. And we just track everything. It's so important to track, guys. So that is the podcast for today, guys. If you're listening, I appreciate it. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast. If you're watching, always appreciate you. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon. This podcast does drop on a weekly basis. Once again, be the best person you can be in 2021. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.